Today on the Healthful Pursuit Podcast, I think that there's this delicate balance. I don't want to be a couch potato, but I also don't want to think that, oh my goodness, my body's so hot because I have 6-pack abs and I'm better than everybody else. That's not what this is about. It's really about just finding that balance for you. And it's going to look different for you. If you're listening to a podcast episode and somebody's going off on the oxalate content of, I don't know, almonds, and you're like, but I thought almonds were good. I'm focusing on my calcium. What am I supposed to do? Girl, eat the almonds. Hey, my name is Leanne, and I'm fascinated with helping women navigate how to eat, move, and care for their bodies. This has taken me on a journey from vegan, keto, high protein to everything in between. I'm a small town holistic nutritionist turned 3-time international bestselling author turned functional medicine practitioner, offering telemedicine services around the globe to women looking to better their health and stop second-guessing themselves. I'm here to teach you how to wade through the wellness noise to get to the good stuff that'll help you achieve your goals. Whether you're seeking relief from chronic ailments, striving for peak performance, or simply eager to live a more vibrant life, this podcast is your go-to resource for actionable advice and inspiration. Together, we'll uncover the interconnectedness of nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and mindset, empowering you to make informed choices that support your unique health journey. Think of it as quality time with your bestie mixed with a little med school so you're empowered at your next doctor visit. Get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn about your body and how to care for it healthfully. Join me as we embrace vitality, reclaim our innate potential, and discover what it truly means to pursue healthfulness. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad that we get to hang out today. It is just about the new year. In fact, you're probably not listening to this on December 31st. It's probably already 2025. And maybe you're downloading a bunch of podcasts, trying to figure out what you're supposed to be focusing on. And I wanted to just slide in here and talk about health burnout because it's a very real thing that I'm seeing. And I've had conversations with many of you about this situation that's happening. I've personally just seen this more and more and more. What did I see the other day on Instagram? It was just ridiculous. Something about spinach. When we get spinach locally and it's growing from the earth, it's 100% vitamin C. But when we get it from the grocery store, it's 0% vitamin C. Therefore, don't buy your groceries at the grocery store. And I'm like, seriously, we've gotten to this point where we're talking about the vitamin C content in spinach and don't even bother going to the grocery store because there isn't enough vitamin C in our spinach. And then the comments were so silly. And don't forget the oxalates and make sure that I'm over it and I'm a practitioner. So I don't know where you're at with this, but if you see me, I've had it up to here and my hand is all the way up and I have my other arm in the air. It is just getting to be so much. Now, I started as a holistic nutritionist fresh out of school in 2008. By 2014, I was the leading voice in the ketogenic space. Come 2020, I've been educating on functional blood work and really understanding what your cells are saying to give direction to your health plan. And that was such a pivotal moment for me. I've always been in the camp and will die on this hill. This is one of the hills I will happily die on, is that every individual is an individual. We have different goals. We have different tools. We have different things at work. And all of those things make up the human that you are. And so there's so much information out there and it's so cool that we have access to all these things, but it can create an absolute health burnout. Absolute burnout. And the conversations that I'm having with many of you online are so similar when it comes to this conversation of, I don't know what I'm doing. All the information is contradicting one another. When I go to a practitioner and spend hundreds of dollars, I really get no support and I have no idea what to do and how to do it. And so I wanted to go through a whole bunch of things with you today to hopefully there's at least one thing that I say that helps ground you in this year ahead, because many of us are going through our goals for 2025 and we're trying to figure out where our focus should be. And come February, we've listened to a whole bunch of podcasts and then we're thinking this should be our goal. And then we're thinking that this other thing that we need to bring in. And in fact, I had a conversation with a really sweet mom. She's a mom of 6. And she said, Leanne, can you just tell me what to do when I have no time to do anything? I'm like, yeah, drinking water would be good. Like, let's just start super basic, or making sure that we're sleeping enough would be good. Like if you're sleeping 5 hours, let's try to make it 5.5. If we're sleeping 6 hours, let's try to make it 6.5. If we're going to bed with our phones, let's just put that away. Let's put our phones out of the room. Like basic, simple things. If you are thinking, oh my goodness, I have gut dysbiosis and I need to spend $400 on a GI map, but you're sleeping with your phone, you're craving sugar left, right, and sideways, you're not getting enough sleep, I don't know, you're not getting outside, you're not drinking water, like these basic things are really important to start focusing on. And so I'm hoping that something that I say in this episode grounds you for the year ahead, because let me tell you, we all need a little bit of grounding. So, okay, where do I want to start with this? Let's dive down the whole practitioner situation, because I am a practitioner and it sucks. The space out there, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. And when I studied holistic nutrition fresh out of school, I definitely didn't know the things that I know now. And I still hire practitioners for help with certain things. But I've learned over the time is like whatever practitioner I hire, whomever I'm working with, they are in no way, shape, or form in control of my entire plan. I am. And so I seek the help of certain individuals. Like I have an awesome chiropractor that I go to for structural help when it comes to the pain in my neck. And he also helps me a lot with just structure for my workouts. So if I say, I'm noticing that my squat depth isn't as strong as it should be. Can you take a look at my squats and let me know what you think? Do you see something? Is something off? Can you help me in that regard? But I would never ask my chiropractor what supplements I should take to regulate my hormones, because he's going to be like, well, yeah, I read this article, but he's just not going to know as well as somebody else would. And so I think the biggest thing here is understanding, number one, when you need help, because we can't carry it all on our own for sure. And two is when you hire the specific person, there's never going to be a person that does it all. In fact, some of my most successful clients, I'm thinking of a couple of them, I am part of their health team, but I am in no way, shape, or form their health team. And the health team could be a book that you're reading in addition to your functional medicine practitioner, like somebody like me, in addition to your acupuncturist and your chiropractor. And if me sharing all this stuff is like, sorry, what? People have whole health teams? What? Pardon? Maybe you're not there, and that's totally okay. But this part of the conversation, there are many parts. There's 6 parts actually that I've written down. There'll probably be 12 when we're done. We'll see how much we get through. But this section, I really want to hone in on the practitioner side of things, because what I'm hearing from a lot of you is, I just blew $800 in a session with a practitioner. I spent $2,000 on testing, and I literally know nothing about my body. In fact, I onboarded a client last month that they showed me the protocol that they received from a well-renowned practitioner. All of us know this person's name, very, very popular in the space, thousands of dollars to work with them. And I looked through these results and I'm like, this is all ChatGPT generated. I can tell you right now, they just uploaded the labs to ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to tell them what the answers were. I can tell you right now. So there's a lot of gunky stuff out there. And the financial burden that's been placed on society to figure out their health stuff is nutso. I fully see that. I am part of the problem. Unfortunately, like as a practitioner, if in fact, I was out for lunch with friends today and they said like, what's the number one thing that you struggle with? Like, what are you struggling with right now? And I'm like, trying to not like, I have such a burden to care for my clients that sometimes I carry that burden on my own and I don't give it to the Lord as much as I should, because it's a lot when people are relying on you to provide information, to stay on top of the information, to care for them in a way that they feel heard and seen and valued. And unfortunately, there are practitioners out there where they don't help their clients feel those things. And I know that sometimes, very rarely, but it has happened where clients tell me that I haven't provided that care and attention. And oh man, that's hard to hear. It's hard to hear because, oh my goodness, like the burden is so heavy. And so I know that there are good ones out there that truly want to assist. And I think some of it has to do with hiring the wrong person for the job. Just like I said, I wouldn't go to my chiropractor asking them about my hormones. I also have a nurse practitioner that I legit only go to for my thyroid medication and peptide therapies. And I know what I need when I go in there. I give her I give her the lab work she needs. We talk, she gives me my medication, and I get on my way. And that is, I have set up certain individuals to assist me in the areas that I need, understanding that I have put my health as a top priority. Like our finances are set up in a way that our health is number one. I drive the probably an unsafe vehicle at this point. It gets stuck in neutral often. And I'm just like, I would rather drive this vehicle that costs me nothing and just like totally, absolutely drive it into the ground. This will be the third vehicle I have driven into the ground before I spend any money on something new. That way I get to have that health team and such. But I know that a huge tip on this area is I would never, ever, ever hire a practitioner without having an initial session with them so in that initial session, usually practitioners will either do a charged session that if you end up like going forward with them, they put the credit toward the first session, or even just like a planning session. Like I do that for my clients. We have like a full-on planning session and then we go through protocol work. Or even if they don't have those initial sessions and such, another big thing that I think more and more practitioners are going toward is having podcasts, having YouTube videos, so you can investigate the individual. Like if what I'm saying today, you're like, I don't agree with her, everything that's coming out of her mouth is stupid, then you probably shouldn't work with me because we're not going to jive. So, right, you need to align with this individual. And so that's really, really, really important. And that trustworthiness is key. And just the more you read it from them, the more you hear from them, like look them up on podcasts and YouTube videos and interviews, you just get a sense of who they are, their story, what they've been through, who they address, like what their jam is. And anyone promising like quick fix sort of things run in the opposite direction. Always not a big fan of that. Ever. So if somebody says, yeah, I can get you fixed up in a month. Like I was calling around chiropractor offices for a client who was open to going to see a new chiropractor. And I called 8 different offices and I went through a series of questions to just kind of get a sense. And there were 2 locations who said, the doctor's literally magic and she'll only have to come a couple of times until she's totally fixed. And I'm like, okay, no. That's like, no, that's like not, that's a hard no for me. And also too, like, I think there is a burden of thinking that we need to spend this money in order to be better, to feel better. And that financial burden again is just so heavy. I know that I have struggled with that myself personally. When I'm looking at the supplements that I take and I'm thinking like, these are my core supplements. I know that each and every single one of these was selected with intention. I know what they do. I know why they do it. I've tested it. I understand. And there are quite a few of them. And I do notice when I don't take them and I feel best on them and I have data to back it up. And so to me, it's worth it. But there can be this, oh my goodness, if I run out of this supplement, is it going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? And I think what's really grounded me, there are a couple things. One is that really the only thing I can't go without because it would be really, really bad is my thyroid medication. Like without that, well, I stopped taking it once. I went down by like 30 milligrams in my Armour thyroid and I passed out at the gym, and I would never, ever do that again. I realized how important it was and I absolutely needed it and will never, never run out of it ever. But other than that, all the other stuff, it's not that it's nice to have because I do see that data points do change when I don't take these specific things and I do feel a difference. But to that point, it's that I have those data points. And I think the biggest struggle when it comes to the financial burden and the spending money situation is that we're just willy-nilly trying $100 supplements to see if they will make a difference. And I think that strategy is just so out of touch. And that's what I love about functional blood chemistry because it really helps us understand and give direction to where we need to go in a very cost-effective way. Like a basic blood lab with me is $75. For $75, we can have basic understandings of how the cells are functioning and what supports are needed. Like super basic supports that aren't costly, that are really like the biggest understanding of what's going on in the body, high level. And for myself personally, my maintenance protocol that has allowed me to build muscle, get pretty darn strong at the gym, and sleep better and all of those things, how I'm keeping that balance and maintaining that balance is all coming from that blood work. Now, the unfortunate thing is when we're coming from a place of imbalance, like in the case of parasites or mold or mitochondrial dysfunction and these sorts of issues, oftentimes we do need to go through bigger protocols and bigger haul out sessions that can last anywhere between a year to 3 years to really clean up the body, regulate the nervous system, and get into that maintenance mode. And I think that's where, unless you're willing to do the work yourself and do the research and really overcome these things on your own, it's helpful to hire somebody, even in some certain aspects, like perhaps you hire a chiropractor to help with your nervous system. And once you've really gotten with them and you're down to once every 2 weeks, then maybe you decide to work with an acupuncturist to help with some of the regulations around your hormones. And so once you're regular with them, maybe you only have to go once a month and then you work. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not like an all or nothing thing, but a big thing about finding a practitioner is making sure that they are trustworthy and that you understand who they are and what they're about before you work with them. And sometimes, unfortunately, I did hear some stories when I was asking everyone on Instagram about kind of their experiences, is a lot of ladies said that they had done the research about a practitioner, had a session with the practitioner, and they were absolutely useless, like didn't provide any support. And this is my worst nightmare. A big piece to this is, what are you going into the session with? Like how are they going to determine what's going on? They can usually do that through a really thorough history. So spending your time coming together with like a nice, thorough one pager, not 5 pages, not even 2 pages, 1 page history of everything that's happened and the results, and just kind of like really, really, really make it super potent. 1 page history, blood work, if they do functional blood chemistry, and like starting there with some data and some history goes a really, really, really long way, like a super long way. But I think the foundations of health, like diet, sleep, movement, maybe I would add like water to that, is essential. Diet, okay? Super basic stuff. Let's not get crazy complicated. Should I do low carbs? Blah, 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 macros, blah. Okay. Prioritize protein, eat plants, have healthy fats like almonds, macadamia, avocado, some salmon, and some carbs if you move your body a lot, like sweet potato, beans, those sorts of things. Make sure your fiber is like at least 20. If you're massively GI nutsoed and you need to go carnivore for a while, do that. If you know you're metabolically totally busted, like you have hypoglycemia or insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, then yeah, maybe you need to go keto. But like, let's keep it simple. Okay, diet, check, cool. You shouldn't be spending hours at the grocery store reading through packages. Just stick to the outside aisles, eat the vegetables, the fruits, the natural foods that don't have a label, and move on. We don't need to complicate this. On my Instagram, I share my meals. My meals are nowhere near complicated. I think in the form of ingredients. I'm like, I'm going to have chicken, potato, onion, done. I air fry the chicken. I boil the potato. I air fry the onion, put it on a plate, add salt, done. Like, we are not cooking from a recipe. That is way too much work for this girl. Sleep. We already talked about this at the beginning. What time are you going to bed? Be consistent with that. What time are you waking up? Be consistent with that. If you're not sleeping well, why? Is it your liver? Is it your hormones? Really easy fixes. Like, when we start to experience menopause or changes to our hormones that are affecting our sleep, oftentimes, in my experience, it has to do with liver. So really supporting your liver, supporting your adrenals. Something that's been really helpful for me is Dong Quai. That has like massively helped my sleep situation. Cellulite. We all got it. We all hate it. We all want it to go away, and not all of us will achieve this for sure. There are many reasons why we have cellulite. The two common root causes that I see over and over and over again have to do with liver dysfunction and therefore lymph drainage pathway issues. So if your lymph is not healthy, if your liver is not fully supported, chances are you're going to have cellulite. So I would definitely suggest focusing on those two aspects. But another piece to cellulite function has to do with our balance of collagen and also our ability to correct our skin connective tissue. So if you're looking to tackle cellulite from a skin connective tissue situation, the texture specifically, BioCell Collagen could be the solution that you're looking for. Did you know that collagen and hyaluronic acid, key components of BioCell Collagen, have been shown to reduce the appearance of cellulite? So here's how it works. Cellulite occurs when fat cells push up against the skin connective tissue, leading to a dimpled appearance. Collagen helps to strengthen the skin's connective tissue, making it firmer and more elastic, while hyaluronic acid hydrates the skin, making it look smoother and more even. Together, these powerful ingredients work from the inside out to improve the appearance of your skin and reduce cellulite. Since I started talking about BioCell Collagen, I've noticed a real difference in my personal skin's texture. It's smoother, it's firmer, with far less noticeable cellulite. It's become a key part of my daily routine for maintaining healthful and youthful looking skin. But again, I also support my liver and my lymph. If you're ready to see a difference in yourself, you can go to mygrowinghair.com to get a month's supply of BioCell Collagen for $25 off. Plus, if you set up a subscription, you'll save an additional $25 off every future order forever. That's a 15% savings every single month. And when you purchase through my site, I'll send you a personal text message from my phone number so that we can stay connected on all things collagen, hair, cellulite, skin health, nail health. Don't wait. You can visit mygrowinghair.com today and start your journey to smoother, firmer skin. Movement. Are you outside 30 minutes a day for walking? If you're not, maybe do that. If it's super cold up, bundle up. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I would bundle up and get outside, rain or shine or snow or anything, and go for at least a 30-minute walk. There are no excuses. I'm telling you. And water, keep some around. Press pause, as I've been doing throughout this recording. Drink some. And just starting with those basic things before advancing to literally anything else I've shared. Like those basic things. And if that's too much for you and you're like, how can I possibly walk 30 minutes a day? And how can I have all this water? And how can I change my diet? You are thinking way too big, my friend. One thing. So maybe you realize, oh my goodness, I haven't had any water today. For the next 2 weeks, you are just going to focus on drinking enough water. And maybe you're like, okay, after the 2 weeks, I got it down, but I could do better. Again, the next 2 weeks, just focus on drinking more water. And when you feel like really good with that, move on to the next thing. It doesn't have to be this all or nothing, in or out crazy thing where you're hiring practitioners and you have a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, and a colonics person on call, and you're also drinking green juices. Like it's too much. When it comes to working with a practitioner and just trying to get answers to what's going on in your body, I think one of the common frustrations is the lack of a clear diagnosis or contradictory advice or even lack of clear direction and slow progress. So there are a couple of pieces to unpack there. If you choose to work with somebody, I think one of your top priorities with them and being clear with this is at the end of every session, I want to understand where we're at in the process and what our plan is moving forward. A good practitioner should have a plan. It shouldn't be like, yeah, come in and we'll figure it out. Yeah, come in and we'll figure it out. There should be like a clear direction of where you're going, why you're going in that direction, and they should be able to speak to that. Like, end of story. And if you're managing your own care, you should have direction. So when you listen to podcasts and they're talking about oxalates and you're like, maybe I need to avoid oxalates, be like, I'm not even focused on this right now. I'm focused on getting enough sleep. Why do I care about oxalates? No, we are not even going down that rabbit hole. No, right? Like, for example, the other day I was at the gym and I was working out because this is literally all I do at this point. No, I'm kidding. I do spend a lot of time at the gym because I'm working toward a goal right now. But so I'm at the gym and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, maybe I need to do a parasite cleanse. Maybe I need to like get on the parasite work again. And I was like, Leanne, no, we are right now, we are focused on getting ready to hike Patagonia. Okay. Once we're done Patagonia, we're going to take a little break from all the big lifting, and you can focus on parasite work then. We are not going to even think about the parasite stuff. Okay. Focus, commit, and focus. So the lack of direction is a big thing. And I think too, the contradictory advice kind of like loops in with that. Is like when we hear from one person do this, like the vitamin C thing with the, oh my goodness, the spinach. Like I get that information, like it's pretty cool, man. Like there's less vitamin C in grocery store spinach. That's not going to stop me from eating spinach. Like, what am I going to put in my omelet? Of course, I'm going to get the spinach from Costco. It's a huge tub. I go through it in like 5 days. What am I going to do instead? Find a local grocer? Like, I have no time for that. I haven't stepped foot in a grocery store in almost a year. I get all my groceries delivered, and the thought of spending time going to the grocery store when I have like a list of client files and to-dos and podcast episodes to record and sleep and water to drink, I ain't got time to go to the grocery store. And it actually saves me money having a membership for grocery delivery where I know what I'm getting. I'm not distracted by other things. I have my list. I get it. I move on. And it's so very similar to when we're taking in information. There's nothing wrong with taking in information, but you have to filter it through something. If you're willy-nilly, like going with the ebbs and flows of life and health and what's cool today, you're constantly going to be changing your mind. I just realized actually there is a scripture, Ephesians 4:14 says, "Then we will no longer be infants tossed back and forth by the waves and blown here and there by every wind of teaching and by the cunning and craftiness of people in their deceitful scheming." I just realized that that is so similar when we do not have foundation in our health principles, when we're not like, okay, I'm filtering this through what are my goals? What am I doing? What am I focusing on right now? And filter that through. It's the exact same thing that we do with the Word of God as believers. Like, I'm taking in this information. I'm sorting through it. I am not going to be tossed here and back and around, blown here and there with every wind of teaching. I am focused on the Word of God. So when we have these principles that guide us, it's so much easier to get answers, to get clarity, to not have that contradictory advice kind of toss us here, there, and upside down. When it comes to progress in the holistic health realm, we have to understand medications work ridiculously fast. Like when I go to an allopathic doctor and I'm like, hey, can I do this one thing? And then the next day it's like done and that's the medication for you. It's just like, wow, that's so cool. With holistic care, it takes a long time and sometimes it does not get resolved. Sometimes, like, our bodies are so complicated that sometimes the issues are bigger than us, and God is in control of so much of those pieces, all of those pieces, in fact. And so I'm always blown away, even from my own progression. Like when I look back over the last 5 years, I can see progression in how I feel and how I'm sleeping, my thoughts, the management of my time, just everything, just everything. When I think of my physical changes, oh my goodness, I started working out more than 2 years ago, and I was looking through my very first training program and my max lat pull was 30 pounds. I remember putting it on there and being like, wow, this is so much. I can literally pull with my lats down 30 pounds with my hands. I'm now at 110 pound lat pull, two and a bit years later. But if you ask me on any given week, I'm just like, I'm making no progress. Literally, life sucks. I've made no progress. So it's really important that you mark progress in many different aspects. For me, I find symptoms are really, really helpful, especially when you're dealing with holistic issues. So kind of going through your symptoms and scaling them from 0 to 10 and doing that once a month and scaling them and looking at your old scores can be really helpful for noting progress. And when it comes to diagnoses within the holistic health space, like in the case of where I'm at and the realm that I play in, there's really no diagnoses that we are working with. It's really imbalances. And that's why I really, really love using the blood chemistry as a means to determine progress through various protocols that we're doing. I think also when you're working with a practitioner, we need to communicate. Okay, so as a practitioner, I'm telling you, if you hire a practitioner, like I said, telling them like, I want to know the direction that we're going. I want to know what the plan is. I want like a summary at the end of each of our sessions. Like, what are we doing? Where are we at? What's happening? And I think too, being very, very clear. These are my biggest issues, and this is how I expect that we will work through them. What are your thoughts? And if you find something new that you think aligns with the goals that you're working toward, going to your practitioner and saying like, hey, I really love this idea. Does this align with our direction? Or how does it not align? And just having that open communication. But always understanding as you're taking in information, you really need to think of the bio-individuality of your body. And a huge thing that I wish I would have started sooner because it's literally the best. And I wish I would have started it like a decade ago. So I now have a little notebook that I write to myself, all the little things that I've learned about myself over the years of like preferences for my body, what works, what doesn't, because let me tell you how many times I have tried to do methylfolate and I get like the worst anxiety ever if I don't pair that with proper amount of creatine. Like how many stinking times I have done this. And so I start writing down, hey, Leanne, remember when you do this, you also need to do this. Or, hey, Leanne, remember you don't like this. Hey, Leanne, like I have so many of them. And it just helps me remember what I need and how my body works because it's different. And that's good. I must bring up the issue of idolization when it comes to this conversation of just overall health burnout. I think for so many of us, we get to this point where we're just like, I can't even anymore. None of this is working. All of it sucks. All the effort, all the supplements, all the testing, all of it is trash. What a waste. Has to do with a lot of things. One is, the lack of direction, I think. Two is putting too much into our health and really using the health or fitness or like the perfect whatever as an identity. I have definitely struggled with this for sure. Not so much recently. Curiosity really drives me to try new things. Like with me lifting and things, I'm just curious how much muscle I can gain and what that's going to feel like. And having a goal of hiking the O-Trek in Patagonia has actually grounded me a lot with that. Of now I am lifting weights or pushing hard at the gym, not for any, topical reason because I want my arms to look a certain way, but legit because I'll be lifting a pack over my head and holding, 20 pounds on my back for an 18-hour hike. I don't think it's actually 18 hours. I think the longest is 12. So when I'm doing step ups, I'm thinking, okay, this could literally be me stepping up a mountain. So like, let's get to work. But I think oftentimes we can tie fitness, health as our identity and get it really looped up with everything. And it gets really messy and we lose sense of what's actually important. Like, yes, I think that dressing in a certain way and caring for ourselves is important. Do I think that having the best designer bags and walking into a room being like, I am the best is healthy? No. But when I put a little bit of conscious effort into how I'm showing up physically, like brushing my hair, putting on some blush, some lip stuff, and it's going to look different for you, and a nice clean shirt with clean pants, clean socks, and some shoes. And my husband goes, wow, you look really nice. That's nice. And I say clean because oftentimes I have literally gone out of my home with like toothpaste on my shirt or like yesterday's dinner on my pants. Okay. So I think that there's this delicate balance. I don't want to be a couch potato, but I also don't want to think that, oh my goodness, my body's so hot because I have 6-pack abs and I'm better than everybody else. That's not what this is about. It's really about just finding that balance for you. And it's going to look different for you. If you're listening to a podcast episode and somebody's going off on the oxalate content of, I don't know, almonds, and you're like, but I thought almonds were good. I'm focusing on my calcium. What am I supposed to do? Girl, eat the almonds. Okay. Like just eat them. It's fine. And I think too, like that over prioritization. And I struggle more with this personally. I get a little bit of anxiety when I'm in new situations and I've committed to a workout goal and I don't entirely know when am I going to be able to work out. It's not that I have guilt for like not working out. It's just that I made a goal and I'm committing to it and somebody else is like stopping me from being able to do that thing. And so I'm still working through that about like how to navigate that in a selfless way. Does this person need me? Do I need to be there? Will missing one workout really going to affect things? No. Will missing 5 workouts in a row really affect things? Probably not. It might affect just my state of mind, just because like I enjoy going to the gym. I listen to worship music. I really spend time with the Lord during that time. So it is really, really nice for me to have that time. But if you're feeling unworthy because you missed a workout, or you're feeling excessive guilt because you couldn't order your supplements this month, or you are worried that because you're sick and you don't get to go to the gym, that it's going to take away all the progress you've made over the last year of committing to working out 3 days a week, I think we need to assess, like, is this an idol? Where can we kind of back off and balance our priorities a little bit? Attention health enthusiasts, Paleo Valley just dropped the hottest new flavor of their 100% grass-fed bone broth protein, introducing salted caramel.
Packed with 15 grams of collagen-rich protein per serving, this clean, nutrient-dense powder is made from grass-fed, pasture-raised beef bones, no grains, no pesticides, and no harsh chemicals. Why Paleo Valley? Unlike other brands that source collagen from hides, Paleo Valley's protein comes from bones, unlocking a treasure trove of amino acids to help improve gut health, digestion, and metabolism. And the flavor, decadent salted caramel that blends beautifully in coffee, smoothies, or even baked goods. Your taste buds will thank you, but don't take my word for it. Thousands of 5-star reviews rave about improved digestion and sustained energy throughout the day. Here's the deal. Go to paleovalley.com/Leanne to get 15% off your order today. Plus, every order is backed by a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Don't wait. Visit paleovalley.com/Leanne now and start enjoying better digestion and lasting energy.
I think, and we talked about this previously, and just like this all or nothing behavior, my most successful clients are the ones who slowly move into change. And the conversations I have with the women that I work with, oftentimes where their path gets a little bit rocky is when they try to take on too much too quickly and it all just falls apart. And I totally agree with that. I've had to catch myself so many times being like, I am way too serious about this. And it's hard because when you're not feeling good or there's somebody in your home not feeling good and you're just trying to make sense of things, it can be hard to just be like, I need to be patient. I need to back down. I can't make this an idol. Like, I get it. I get it. When you're not feeling good and you just want a solution, but starting slow will make sure that you are able to commit to the things you're committing to and you're actually able to make a lasting change. And that's going to go so much farther than like this all or nothing situation. Also, too, there's this piece of self-worth beyond anything, of just like that the worthiness that you have is tied up with the portrayal or the sense you have over yourself. And so you might think that if I don't have things all figured out, then I don't know, not a good mom, not a good wife, not a good person, like all of that kind of stuff that we tie to our worthiness. But that ain't it. Sometimes there are limits to what we're able to do and not able to do. I know when Kevin lost his job earlier this year, oh my goodness, that was financially really hard. I had to like massively take a look at things. I was down to having just one electrolyte packet a day. I had to cut out most things. I got so creative with our groceries, and that's what I had to do. Was there guilt around eating regular chicken instead of free range, organic, blah, blah? No, that like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, we didn't have the money to buy the things. So it's kind of a moot point. And so I think that there's an unnecessary burden on us, and that kind of loops into the financial conversation that we already had. A big piece, and this is harder to say for a practitioner who, like, my entire life revolves around my practice and has for quite some time. I have not been blessed with children. I have a husband who's gone from home a lot, working. And so I spend a significant amount of time researching, thinking about working on my personal health and others' health. So I'm kind of like in it. And so my hobbies are like not anything to do with health at all, because I need that break time. But it's so important to find joy and purpose outside of your health journey to prevent burnout. So if everything in your life is surrounded by how do I have a healthier life and how do I improve the health of my family, and there's not one thing that brings happiness outside of that, it's going to be a lonely road. It's going to suck. And I know that when I heard the gospel, became a believer, and truly believed that Jesus is real, that joy and that focus was kind of like taken off of me and focused on him. And that has proven to be the most grounding experience overall of anything else that I've ever experienced. There's also an aspect of community that's important. And as a practitioner, it's always this is so difficult for me and something that I'm personally working through as well, is like when you're a practitioner, all your friends know that you're a practitioner. And so there's always this like boundary that I need to create respectfully with other people, just saying like, we're friends. I love you. I want to help you, but there's like a boundary there, and we're just going to have to discover what that is over time. But there's also a sense of community that needs to happen. And I think for me as a practitioner, this is challenging because I can't, everyone assumes that Leanne's good because Leanne knows about health, and so she'll just kind of like figure it out. And so I can't totally speak to this personally, but it's, when I'm speaking with my clients, the clients that have the most success are the individuals that have some sort of support system in their day-to-day, whether that's their coworkers, a best friend, a sibling, but most importantly, their partner and their family. Like the women that struggle the most that I work with are the ones that have family that just could care less about the journey that they're on. And I think this creates the burnout because they are pushing up against so much friction, and they're thinking there's so much friction, which then causes more friction, and there's just friction all of the time. Okay. So some sort of support system. And then also just seeing, like, for example, I know it's a lot easier for me because I'm only feeding myself and my husband. We do not eat the same. Like, Kevin is on this whole carnivore thing. He's been on it for quite some time. I could never eat what he eats. I would feel so terrible, but it works for him. And so I keep meals really, 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 really simple. And when we go out to eat, we're always ordering different stuff. And we look for places that work for both of us. And so we just make it work. So if he's having, meat that's being cooked in the air fryer, I'll have my meat that's cooked in the air fryer too, but it'll be different meat, and he won't have vegetables. So he'll have more meat, and I'll cook my vegetables in a pan. We just keep it like super, super, super simple. I think sometimes the health burnout comes when we think it's so much bigger of a deal than it is. And we just psych our mind out as to all of the things. And I think it's because we're just taking on way too much. I want to finish our conversation going through some examples of areas that you could focus on to kind of give yourself that groundedness. So when you're listening to other things, you're staying focused on the one thing instead of everything at once. So some of these things I already kind of talked about throughout the episode, but I want to give you like clear directions. So sleep, that's a big one. I am working on my sleep. If it affects my sleep, I'm going to look at it step by step and adjust the sleep. The temperature of the room, the darkness of the room. Does it help if I wear an eye mask or not? What time I go to bed, if my phone is beside me, like just focus on sleep. If you're listening to a podcast about balancing your hormones and the supplements you could be taking to balance your hormones, literally don't care. I'm not focused on hormones right now. My sleep being better might help my hormones, but for right now, I'm just focusing on my hormones. Another one, like I said, is water. Maybe you look at your water filtration or the minerals you're adding to your water or your water bottle. Does it, put stuff in your water? Are you drinking out of plastic? All of those things. How often are you drinking water? And for the next couple of months, you're focused on water. It could be air quality. When's the last time we cleaned our AC? Or what do you guys call it in the States? HVAC? Never understood why. I don't understand. I should really look it up. When's the last time I cleaned this? And, do we have filters in the HVAC? Well, that's supporting the HVAC itself, not the air quality. Could we put an air filtration system in the house? What would that look like? How does that work? All that stuff. And that's just all you're focused on. And really sticking to that focus for 6 to 8 weeks before evaluating your progress and or adding new elements. So water, sleep, air quality, movement is another one. Walking, gym time, body weight workouts at home, YouTube videos, Pilates, doesn't matter. Just picking that. Maybe you start with like 5-minute walks in the morning and that's all you do. And you're just focused on, I just want to walk a little bit more and be consistent with walking. And that's what you focus on. If you're listening to a podcast how to incorporate more fat in your diet. That's really great. Glad for them. But I'm focusing on movement. If it's not about movement, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it. This is what we're focusing on. So you get what I'm saying? It's just like one thing at a time. One thing at a time. So I just recently overhauled my wardrobe. I wouldn't even call it a wardrobe previously. I'm going to be talking about this in a podcast episode coming up next, I think, or in the next couple of weeks. I couldn't do that while also starting a new workout program or whatever. I was just focused on colors that go together, my schemes, how it all works, what I like, what I don't like. That's what I was focusing on. That's it. Super simple. And then once I felt really comfortable with that, I got a good capsule wardrobe. Okay, now how do I dress myself with these? What accessories do I use with these? Just one step at a time. I really think that the burnout is just happening because we're just taking on too much. We're changing our approaches. We're doubting the goals that we've set. Oh, no. Well, what about if it's this? Well, I mean, you saw that there was a need for you to focus on X. So finish X, get good at X, then move on to Y. And this really comes down to, it's not a marathon. There's no end in sight. Okay. That we're always going to be working against a fallen body in a fallen world. It's never going to be perfect. I always thought, oh my goodness, when I'm just so healthy, my digestion is going to be absolutely perfect and I'm never going to deal with situations. Well, I mean, the other night I had this egg pasta straight from Italy, but I don't know where they got the corn from. Normally I don't react to corn in Italian foods, but my digestion is a little bit off and has been for 2 days. Am I sweating over it? No. My new approach to my health is if it's still happening in 3 months, I will do something about it. So for example, I had this dry patch on the top of my lip. And you might have seen it in my videos. I was pretty self-conscious about it. So I tried to hide it with makeup and stuff like that. It was just this little dry patch on the top of my lip. It was driving me nuts. And it would heal and then it would come back. And I was like, is it dermatitis? I don't know. Maybe I should go to see a dermatologist. Finally, I was like, okay, I'm going to mark it in my calendar. January 2nd. If it's still happening, January 2nd, I will find somebody to help me. It's been gone for a month now. Yay. So some of the stuff, we jump at these symptoms, but we have to ground ourselves. And how I ground myself is through functional blood chemistry. I do my blood work every 3 to 6 months. I assess, I come up with my goals, and I focus on those goals for the next 3 to 6 months. And I do not let anything deter me from those goals. So I hope that something in here that I shared has been helpful for you. And it wasn't just blah, blah, blah. There's going to be a whole bunch of this next year. I'm planning to not have a ton of guests on the show. I hope you like this format of us just chatting and hanging out. If you have ideas for episodes or areas that you want me to focus on, probably the best place to tell me about that is on Instagram at Leanne Vogel, and just send me a DM and let me know what's going on and how I can help. Yeah. I hope you have a great 2025. I'm so glad to be on this journey with you, and we will see you back here for another episode. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Healthful Pursuit Podcast. Join us next Tuesday for another episode of the show. If you're looking for free resources, there are a couple of places you can go. The first to my blog, healthfulpursuit.com, where you're going to find loads of recipes. The second is a free parasite protocol that I've put together for you that outlines symptoms, testing, and resources to determine whether or not you have a parasite, plus a full protocol to follow to eradicate them from your life if you need to. That's available at healthfulpursuit.com/parasites. And last but certainly not least, a full list of blood work markers to ask your doctor for so that you can get a full picture of your health. You can grab that free resource by going to healthfulpursuit.com/labs. The Healthful Pursuit Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Healthful Pursuit Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representation or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified health practitioner with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.